return trip to Ohio to cover the NFL draft. That's got to be fun for you.
Anytime I get to come back to Ohio, it's great. And you know, I don't get back very often.
Right.
You know, I have my mom still living, and she's in Dayton at Centerville. My sister and her family are in Centerville. But you know, with 4 boys, I was just always, we were doing something or going to something. We'd come up occasionally, but we don't get up here very often. So when I do get up here, it definitely, it's cool to see Ohio license plates on cars. You know, I said that to Darren the other day, like, this is so great. I haven't seen these license plates in forever. So it's
I know that feeling. It's a good feeling.
Yeah,
it's a really good feeling.
It is.
So what do you make of this year's draft? If you had to put a letter grade on the overall body of talent that's available, is this an extraordinary draft? Is this a below average draft?
It's hard to really do that with an entire swipe because the defensive linemen are pretty good. The top end of the corners are good. The receivers are really deep besides the big names up top. The quarterbacks are going to steal the show. Of course, they always do. This is going to be a record-setting year for quarterbacks. So when you have that many quarterbacks, it's going to get everyone's attention. But if you look at the other positions, it's hit and miss. There's some spots that are deep and good, and then there's other spots that are okay.
This is weird for the Browns because typically they're number 1 pick.
You guys
love that too, don't you?
You guys got it. Well, you and I used to have fun with each other being a Bengals guy. But I've been in Nashville for 10 years, and they bring Braves down there to be the coach.
So now
I'm kind of like, and the Bengals. I mean, you know, I love Joe Burrow, but I'd really like to start watching the Titans. But yeah, you and I used to have Reds, Indians, Bengals, Browns. That was fun.
We went at it. After a decade, 2 decades really, of just subpar football, it seems like they've finally figured it out. What's your assessment of I know that your gig is college, but you watch the pro ranks.
I think you got to go back and look at Baker Mayfield when he got drafted. He had Hugh Jackson, right? And that was his system. And within that year, he's gone. And now all of a sudden you're adjusting to a new system. And you got Freddie Kitchens. And then you're trying to figure that out. And then that didn't work out. And then Kevin comes in. And now things are starting to. So I think with Baker, I'm a Baker guy. So it seems to be a polarizing guy. But I've always been a Baker guy. When Cleveland announced Baker and there was all those other names out there, I was like, if you remember draft night in Dallas, I was like, boom, because I was happy for Cleveland because he's a Cleveland kind of guy. You got to let him get in a system and let him like get some stability and some consistency. So I think he has that now with Kevin, and now you can build the pieces around him to go to another level. So if I were a Browns fan, I think this is the best position they've been in an offseason than I can remember.
And I think Andrew nailed the free agent season too. He went out and got another piece on the defensive front to help there.
And you have one of the best running backs that the masses in the NFL don't know plays at Cleveland. And he's a unheralded, super humble, super quiet. You know from probably interviewing him. I knew him really well in college. Like if you're ever going to root for a guy, you're going to root for Nick Chubb. And you put he and Kareem Hunt in the backfield together. I mean that's as good as to me there is in the league. With Baker, with the weapons on the outside, now you just got to stay healthy.
2 years ago in Nashville, it was such a nutty scene. I mean, it really was like when you saw that, you questioned what took the NFL so long to figure this out.
Yeah.
That you could take this crazy road show out to all the NFL towns. And then you get it in Cleveland and we get the COVID and you know that there's going to be a lot fewer fans just because of that. I know you've been here a short period of time, but what do you make of how Cleveland has rolled out the mat for the draft folks and how it's looked to you?
Well, I knew when I heard Cleveland had the chance to be a host, just because I'm from Ohio and I know what kind of town this is for football. In an ideal world, pre-COVID, it would be, I can't even imagine, off the chains, the scene that would be here this week. And I'm excited because we're supposed to have 50,000 people around, the set and around the stage, which is great. It gets us 1 or 2 steps closer to getting back to what we all hope to one day see.
Right.
But this city has so much to offer, and I think the NFL is smart to come in here.
And for you personally, being a guy who makes his living at college football, and then this is sort of the send-off of these guys that you've watched for 3 or 4 years, up close and personal. How do you like being involved with the NFL draft, particularly at the level you're involved in now? You're one of the key chess pieces.
Yeah, I love it. I've always liked the draft. I've always loved the college game, and I love to watch these college guys get their chance to go prove what they can do at the next level. But over the last 3 or 4 years, they've asked me to kind of step up my role in being involved with the draft, and I love it. I don't get involved in being Mel Kiper or Todd McShay. Like we were just talking about linebackers. You could ask me corners. I have my list, and when you say a guy's name to me, boom, I can go for 10 minutes on a guy.
Yeah.
But I'm not into, well, let me tell you, this guy does this. Oh, he's got to get way better at this. What's wrong with Justin Fields?
Let Todd and Mel do that.
Let them do that. I'm going to celebrate these guys.
Yeah.
Now, I'll critique where they need to be critiqued and where I think they need to get better.
Right.
But I've really enjoyed, just studying it as far as I'm not going to tell you the needs of the Cardinals or the Steelers, but I can tell you what these kids can do. I mean, I've watched it. I've been in production meetings like this right here with them since they were freshmen. I mean, I sat down with Trevor Lawrence since he was an 18-year-old getting ready to play Alabama in the national championship out at Santa Clara all the way through. So when you have those kind of relationships, it allows you to provide a different perspective. So on ABC, that's what we're doing. We're kind of giving more of a game day perspective. Still going to talk about the NFL, still going to talk about the draft, but it's more about, hey, let me tell you a quick story about Jamar Chase, and that kind of thing about how we got to know these guys as people, not just, a guy that's wearing a jersey.
How do you think Trevor projects? Do you think he's going to be a star?
Projecting to me is more about where are you going and what system are you going to run and who's going to play around you. Like if you look at Jacksonville and New York and San Fran, those first three.
Yep.
I don't know about you, send me to San Fran. I don't care. I don't want to be 1 or 2.
Right.
Can I go to San Fran? Can I work with that offense? Can I work with, what Shanahan's been able to build out there? And there's stability, there's continuity. You're going to Jacksonville, they're starting all over. And how good are the pieces around you? You go to New York, you got a new regime there. So I think it's about give them time. Like Baker in his 3rd year, going into his 4th year, like let's let these guys grow. Let the franchise grow around them, and then let's evaluate where they are. You can't watch a guy in a year or 2 and say, like even Sam Darnold at 3 years, and now he's going to go down to Carolina. Who knows? Maybe he gets a shot there and it turns around. So I think it's about fit and system, about how these guys are going to project. But man, Trevor talk about checking boxes.
Yeah.
Dude is worth all the hype.